This is the part 2 of making strawberry duckling. Hope you have completed watching part 1 and you are ready with the duckling's base. Let's start this part 2 and continue the project. Hey guys, welcome to DIY Crafts. Now we are going to make the beak for the duckling. So for this I am choosing this orange color 100% cotton yarn and a 3mm crochet hook. So begin with the magic ring, then make chain 1, and now into the center make 6 single crochet stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now close the magic ring by pulling the tail end. Now for the second row, insert your needle onto the top of the first stitch and make an increase. You don't have to put a stitch marker as this is only a small pattern. Now continue to make increases in next 2 stitches. So that's the second increase, and make one more increase in the next stitch. That's the third increase. Now into the next stitch make a slip stitch, make chain 1, tighten your slip stitch, chain 1 and then trim the excess thread by leaving a little long tail end, and this long tail end is going to be used to attach the parts to the base of the duckling. So mindfully leave a little long tail end, and this forms the beak for the duckling, or the mouth, you can call it as a mouth. Put this aside and let's start making the legs for the duckling. Now again with the same orange color yarn, begin with a slip knot, then make chain 5. That's chain 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now leave the first chain from the hook and into the next chain make 3 single crochet stitches. So that's 1, 2 and 3. Once the 3 single stitches are done, make 2 single crochet stitches in next stitches. So that's first single stitch and one more single stitch in the next stitch. That's 2 single stitches. You will be left with 1 chain. Make 3 single crochet stitches in the last chain. That's 1, 2 and 3. All the 3 into the same stitch. Adjust the stitches slightly. And now insert your needle onto the top loop of the chain. After turning, make 2 single crochet stitches. So one is already completed. Make one more single stitch in the next stitch. Now make a slip stitch onto the first stitch. Ignore the first chain 1. I mean the stitch we have skipped after the 5th chain. Make a slip stitch onto the top of the first stitch, and this completes the base of the shoe. Now let's continue to make the second row. Begin with 1 chain. Now insert your needle into the back loop of the stitch and then make a single stitch. Now continue to make 1 single stitch in each and every stitch throughout the row and insert your needle only into the back loops. So by the end of the second row you will have 10 single crochet stitches. Observe carefully. You have to put your needle only into the back loop, leaving the front loops. So this gives the nice base of a shoe kind of look. I will show it to you by the end of the row. You can count while making the stitches so that you will never miss any stitch. So that's 9th one and then the 10th one. The last chain you're seeing, that's the slip stitch. So you should leave, or you should ignore that slip stitch. Now make one more slip stitch onto the top of the first stitch, and this forms the base of the leg. And as you can see, it gives a clear partition because of leaving the front loops. Now let's start making the third row. Begin with chain 1 and make 2 single crochet stitches. So that's the first one, and then make second single crochet stitch. Now continue to make invisible decreases throughout the row. We'll have 4 invisible decreases. So that's the first stitch, first invisible decrease. Now insert the hook into front loops of next 2 stitches for the second invisible decrease. That's the second one, and now this one is the third invisible decrease, and then fourth invisible decrease. These tiny body parts are little challenging to complete, but they look so cute on the project. Now slip stitch onto the top of the first stitch, and this completes your third row with 6 single crochet stitches. And see the shape of the shoe, it's nicely taking the shape of the leg. The legs of the duckling. Now for row 4, make chain 1 and then continue to make 1 single crochet stitch in each and every stitch. So that's 1 single stitch, 2, 3, turn your work, twist and turn your work, that's 4, 5 and 6. Now slip stitch, and this completes your 4th row with 6 single crochet stitches. And now we are going to repeat the same pattern for row 5 as well. This gives the height for the legs. Continue to make 1 single crochet stitch in each and every stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then the 6th single stitch. Now make a slip stitch onto the top of the first stitch, chain 1 and trim the excess thread by leaving a long tail end, and we are going to use this tail end to attach to the base of the duckling. Now repeat the same pattern from row 1 to row 5 to make the second leg. You can add a little bit stuffing to this to give the nice shape of the leg. If not, you can just leave it as it is. As such, for my project, I am adding a little bit of fiberfill into this leg to hold a nice shape of the project. As this one is a very tiny piece, to insert the fiberfill into the project, it might be a little difficult. So here I am using the crochet hook to stuff the stuffing into the project. Once the stuffing is done, make one more leg using the same pattern from row 1 to row 5 and put both of them aside, and let's continue with the pattern. Now I am going to use the off-white color, which is the same color that we have used for making the body of a duckling. Begin with the magic ring, and now we are going to make the wings for the duckling. So begin with the magic ring, chain 1 and let's start making the first row. Make 6 single crochet stitches into the center. That's the first single stitch. This is the second one, third, 4, 5th and the 6th one. Once all the 6 single stitches are done, close the magic ring by pulling the tail end tightly. Now let's start making the second row. Insert your needle onto the top of the first stitch. Make 1 single stitch. Put the stitch marker on the top of this new stitch to mark the beginning of the second row. Now into the next stitch, make an increase. So in the second row we have done first 1 single stitch, and then in the next stitch we have made an increase. And repeat this pattern for 2 more times. So that's 1 single stitch, and then in the next stitch make an increase. And now make 1 more single stitch, and in the next stitch make 1 increase. And this completes the second row with 9 single crochet stitches. Remove the stitch marker and make sure you point the correct side on to the outside of the project and the back side towards the inwards. Even though the project twists, you have to adjust it. Now let's make let's start making the second row. Make one single crochet stitch in each and every stitch throughout the row, which means in the third row also you will have 9 single crochet stitches. Just continue to put a count on it while making it to make sure you are getting the correct number of stitches in each and every row. Now remove the stitch marker and let's start making the third row. For this, make one single crochet stitch and put the stitch marker back to mark the beginning of the fourth row. Now into the next stitch, make one invisible decrease. Join the next 2 stitches using an invisible decrease. So insert the needle into front loops of next 2 stitches, drop a loop and then make a single stitch. So that's the invisible decrease, and now repeat this pattern for 2 more times throughout the row. So one single crochet stitch and then one invisible decrease. This is the second repetition. Now have to do it for one more time. Make one single crochet stitch and then make one invisible decrease. And this completes your fourth row with 6 single crochet stitches. Now remove the stitch marker. Now continue to make one single crochet stitch into the next stitch and then put the stitch marker back to mark the beginning of the 5th row. Now continue to make one single crochet stitch in each and every stitch throughout the row. So you can count it as well. That's the second one. That's the third single stitch. You can put the tail end into the wing if it is disturbing your work. Likewise, continue to make one single stitch in each and every stitch and repeat the same pattern for the 7th row as well. And once the 7th row is also completed with 6 single crochet stitches, remove the stitch marker, make slip stitch onto the next stitch, then chain 1. And now trim the excess thread, leaving a little long tail end, which we will use it to attach it to the base of the duckling. Now repeat the pattern from row 1 to row 7 for making the second wing as well. You don't have to put any stuffing into this. It actually looks little plumpy and fluffy, so no need to put, but if you insist you can put it into, you can add the stuffing. Make one more wing and put this aside. Now let's continue to make the strawberry crown to justify the name strawberry duckling. So for this I'm using this light pink shade. However, you can use dark pink or even red according to your wish. Begin with a slip knot, begin with a magic ring, chain 1 and then make 6 single crochet stitches into the center. That's 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now close the magic ring and let's make the second row for this strawberry. Insert the needle onto the top of the next stitch. Make one single stitch. Now put the stitch marker to mark the beginning of the second row. Now continue to make one single crochet stitches in each and every stitch. So that's the second one, third, and continue. That's the fourth one, 5, and then the 6th single stitch. This completes your second row. Again you will have a 6 number of stitches. Adjust the shape to give the tip of the strawberry. Now remove the stitch marker and continue to make the third row. For this, insert the needle into the next stitch. Make one single stitch. Now put the stitch marker back to mark the beginning of the third row. Now into the next stitch, make one increase, that is 2 single crochet stitches into the same stitch. So that's the increase. This is the pattern for third row. 1 single stitch and 1 increase have to be repeated 3 times. Now this is the second repetition. That 1 single stitch is already done. Now this one is the increase. Now the third repetition, 1 single stitch and into the next stitch 1 increase. This completes your third row with 9 single crochet stitches. Now remove the stitch marker and make 1 single crochet stitch into the next stitch and put the stitch marker back to mark the beginning of the fourth row. Now for row 4 and row 5 you are going to have the same number of stitches, that is you have to make 1 single crochet stitch in each and every stitch throughout the row for row 4 and row 5, which means in both the rows you will have 9 single crochet stitches in each. You can just put a count on it and then continue to make. And this completes the first petal of the strawberry. Once the 5 rows are completed, you are going to make a slip stitch into the next stitch and then trim the excess thread. And now we are going to make this kind of petals of total 8. If I have to say, you have to make total 9 petals, but we will trim the excess thread for only 8 petals while leaving the thread on to the 9th petal. Here I have already completed all the 8 petals. See, that is how the strawberry petal looks like. Now here we have completed the 5th row for the 9th petal, and from here on we are going to attach the petals while making the 6th row. So observe carefully, begin with 1 single crochet stitch and put the stitch marker, and this mark indicates the beginning of the 6th row. We have to remember so that it will be easier for us to combine all the petals and join them together. So make 4 single crochet stitches, so that's 4th one. Once the 4 stitches are done, pick up the second petal. Now identify the stitch where we have done the slip stitch. After completing the 5th row, we will make a slip stitch and then we have trimmed the excess thread. So into that very first stitch, insert your needle and make a single crochet stitch. You can include the tail end while making the join. So that's already 1 single stitch, and this is the second single stitch, then the third one and the 4th single stitch. Once the 4 single stitches are done, you can trim the ending tail end of each petal. So here I am trimming the excess thread from the second strawberry. And now we are going to repeat this process until all the 8 petals have been attached. So here I have grabbed the next petal, insert the needle into the stitch where we have done the slip stitch, then make 1 single stitch, and now continue to make 3 more single crochet stitches while including the tail end. That's the third one and then the 4th one, and after that we will trim the excess tail end from the strawberry. And now grab the next petal and now continue to make 4 single crochet stitches onto the next petal, and likewise we will continue to attach all the petals together, which means we are going to repeat this for 8 times in total. That's 1 single stitch, 2, 3 and 4. So this is how your project looks like. You can adjust the circle by pressing down to match the shape of a strawberry. So here is how it looks like once all the 9 petals are joined together. Now after the last petal is done, continue to make 4 more single crochet stitches that continues the last petal, leaving 1 single stitch. as we have 9 stitches on the last row, we are leaving one stitch that will adjust the gap in between each strawberry. So skip one skip one stitch on the next petal and continue to make 4 single stitches on the other side of the strawberry. That's 2, 3 and 4. Now for the next strawberry, leave one stitch and into the next stitch start to make 4 single crochet stitches. That's 2, 3 and 4, and likewise continue to make 4 single crochet stitches onto each strawberry throughout the row. Skip one stitch and then make 4 single stitch, again skip one stitch and then 4 single stitch. Likewise continue until you reach the starting point where we have kept the stitch marker. Now we have reached to the last petal. Skip one stitch, make the last 4 single crochet stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. And now remove the stitch marker. See, this is how the strawberry crown looks like after getting completely attached with each other. Remove the stitch marker and make a slip stitch. Now chain 1 and trim the excess thread, again by leaving a long tail end which we are going to use it to attach it to the head of a duckling. Now fasten off and put this aside. And before that, we will give a little detailing to the project. I am taking the white color yarn and along with that I am using a tapestry needle. And now I am showing a little detailing to give the strawberry its look. So with this white thread I am making few dots on the strawberry. Kindly follow the instructions as shown in the video. And once adding all the dots is completed, I am going to secure the white color yarn into the inside of the project. With the starting and ending tail ends, just make a couple knots to secure the work and then trim the excess thread. And now instead of weaving these ends, I am just stuffing it into the strawberry as shown in the video. And now we are going to repeat this pattern of adding dots on all the strawberries as well. And now that the last strawberry also completed, trimming the excess thread and then putting the tail ends into the strawberry. And now let's complete this crown part by attaching the last and first strawberries together. So for this I am taking the pink tail end into the tapestry needle and attaching the last petal to the first one just by making a simple knot both of them together. Now with this step we have completed all the parts required for duckling: the base, strawberry crown, wings, legs, beak and everything. Continue to watch part 3 for assembling instructions and finishing. Written pattern is given in the description below. Check it out. See you all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please like the video, share it and subscribe to DIY Crafts.